Back again with America, Land of the Slaves, The Truth About Fluoride 4.3. We're going to just get into the next rest of this video where we left off with 4.2. And I'll follow up probably more likely at the end of this video, if not at the end of 4.4. So here we go. And basically the reason why I'm showing this video is to show people a doctor's perspective on fluoride. And he is just one of many doctors, but it just shows that there's something else to look into, you guys. We need to stand up. We need to talk about this. This needs to be taken out of our water. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to have my child and my children bathing in this mess. I'm not trying to have my child's pineal gland, which allows them to basically open up to the universe, think clearly, see clearly, function clearly, so on and so forth, calcified to where they walk around like a walking zombie and make decisions that are not beneficial for them. You know, so we'll go ahead and get into this, you guys. This is the deleterious effects of fluoride on the body with Dr. Paul Conant.
And 3.6% of children aged 12 to 15 in the United States have either moderate or severe dental fluorosis. So that trade-off between lowering tooth decay and producing dental fluorosis but holding it only to 10% clearly was a failure. We have 4 times more dental fluorosis as intended and as desired. Our attitude is that when you see this dental fluorosis, it means the child has been overexposed to fluoride, and the question is, what other tissues have been affected?
Exactly.
So let's start with the bone, because the teeth are a window into the bone. In fact, the teeth actually grow out of the jawbone, and by the time the permanent teeth have come out, the jawbone has been loaded up with fluoride. And so if you can see the damage to the growing tooth cells, what did the fluoride do to the growing bone cells during this 8, 9, 10 period? In fact, the first study that was published on this in 1955 indicated that the children in the fluoridated community, which was Newburgh, New York, had twice as much cortical bone defects as the children in the non-fluoridated community. Now, the cortical bone is the outside layer of the bone. And that's the layer, it's a lamellar structure. And that part of the bone is meant to protect against fractures. And so the concern then is whether we're increasing bone fractures in children.
Exactly.
Well, we had to wait until 2001 before someone investigated.
What's interesting is that there's a lot of studies that kind of correlate this information together and kind of show that there is a link. That's why there are countries who don't put this in their water for a reason. They don't need, actually their cavities and everything, their tooth problems are a lot lower than ours, which is funny considering they don't put this stuff in their water. But I mean, I just don't know how people can't be outraged at this. How could you just sit there and be okay with the poisoning of yourself? Are you going to continue to ignore it because it sounds crazy? You've never heard this before, or you can't believe you can't believe that they would do that to you. You know, I mean, it's business. Look what they do to the animals that they feed you at the supermarket. Look at how the chickens are treated as they are killed. Look at the conditions of the beef and the just come on, you guys. We gotta get this together, dude. We gotta get everybody together on this issue and get this out of our water. This is crazy.
This and researchers in Mexico found a linear correlation as the severity of dental fluorosis went up, meaning the amount of fluoride the child had been exposed to before the permanent teeth had erupted. As that went up, so did bone fractures in the children. And it was quite striking. When you go from no dental fluorosis to very mild dental fluorosis, it doubled. The bone fractures doubled. Very mild to mild, doubled again. Mild to moderate, doubled again. The next concern about bone is that the first symptoms of bone poisoning in an adult are just like arthritis, stiff joints, pains in the joints, pains in the bone. In the United States, we have 1 in 3 adults now with some form of arthritis. And if you ask a doctor what's causing it, they will say, well, we don't really know, but we think it's got something to do with aging. Well, what also parallels aging, of course, is the number of years you spent in a fluoridated community. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, eventually 60, 70, and so on. The next concern is as the fluoride continues to build up in the bone, and I should say that up to 50% of all the fluoride that we take in each day accumulates in the bone. The fluoride is bioaccumulative. The bones get more brittle. And another major concern is increased hip fractures in adults. The studies done in China, as documented in this National Research Council report, and we further elaborated in our book, The Case Against Fluoride, indicates that levels as low as 3 milligrams per day, that's 3 liters of fluoridated water per day, may increase hip fractures in the elderly. Now, my major concern is not the bones, although I think that's significant. My major concern is the brain, because when the baby is born, the blood-brain barrier is not fully formed. We think the blood-brain barrier keeps fluoride out of the brain most of the time, but for the first half year of the baby's life, the fluoride can get into the brain. And this is not the time, in my view, and the view of many other scientists, that a baby should be exposed to fluoride at 250 times the level in mother's milk.
What do you guys think about that one? I mean, that's something that bothers me as well. That I would have to literally go buy bottles of just distilled water to wash my baby with, instead of using the water that I pay for, that's coming out of my faucet, that should be clean and distilled like we pay for it to be. I should be able to use that for my child's bathing time, and my bathing time, and my family's bathing time. I shouldn't be forced to have this fluoride in my water, and neither should anybody else who doesn't want it. Now, the question is, do you want to keep poisoning yourself? Do you want to keep this going? I mean, really, guys, what is it going to take for people to wake up and stand up against basically the annihilation of our society? 1 in every 3 people gets cancer. They recommend in 2015 it'll be 1 in every 2 person gets cancer. I wonder why. I wonder why, guys. Let's think about it. What about the GMO that's in our food? You know? Oh, and then we take it to court, and guess what? It gets voted down. You want to not be able to reproduce, or your children to be able to reproduce? Do you not care about your child's future? Do you not care about anything that people are trying to tell you to help make us all better human beings? Do you not care? If you don't, then really, I don't know what to tell you. We don't need you in our society. We don't need you if you don't care. And that's the truth. Because honestly, we're working for everybody's benefit. We're loving for everybody. We're standing up for everybody, not just ourselves. And for the person that could continue and not respect that, you shouldn't have no place. Just give you your piece of land, and I don't want to see you no more, because you don't belong in our kind of society. You don't help us. The thing is that when we get thousands of people having that same mentality, what does it do? We can't get nowhere. That's why people like me have to come out here and do this kind of stuff, this alternative media, to give people information, education on what's really good. I'm just emotional today, guys, because I just want change. I just want things to be better, and left and right I keep running into people who are just so stubborn. They're lazy. They don't care. They're selfish. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And it's hurtful. You know, it's really hurtful. But again, this was 4.4. And, 4.3. and I hope you guys enjoyed the series this time around. We're going to continue on again, probably with one more video on fluoride, and then this series will continue. So I will be back with you guys another time. Again, this is America, Land of the Slaves. The Truth About Fluoride, Part 4.3.